Hello. Hello. My aunt was interneting, as people say. And I was getting that white circle around and around and around. Maybe too many people trying to go live at the same time. I don't know. But I am here because I decided I wanted to get out some paint, which I have not done in a hot minute. And this is a folded color of mixed media paper. This is a folded paper of larger paper of mixed media paper that I folded in half just so that I could work kind of on it half and half. Not everything always turns out really, really well for the whole page. So I will tend to sometimes fold it in half like that. So I have a seam where I can automatically just, have a visual and be like, all right, this side looks better and this side's going this direction and this side's going that direction. And I can kind of keep doing that. And then when everything is dry, I've got the crease and I can cut that or tie that at that line. So I hope everyone can hear me and I can see myself, which is good. Y'all seeing my trash over here? Oh, no. No, I didn't eat all those Pringles, those sour cream and onion Pringles. Nope. Hubby had some too, and so did my dog, Stanley. So, it wasn't all me. But first I'm going to start with black on both sides. Okay, a little bit of, as we call it, paint boogers. So I probably haven't opened that one in I don't know how long. And this is just regular old black craft paint. And I'm using just a Had It Forever paintbrush. Not even a craft paintbrush. It's chip. 100% pure bristle. Whatever bristle means to them, I guess. Made in Indonesia. It's definitely just like a house painting. It's fine for spreading all this around as much as possible. We are going to use plenty of color over the top of it. And in between, we will use my blow dryer because that's what I have down here instead of my heat gun. And I can't really tell you which one makes more noise, but it takes a second and it starts to drown out. So I shouldn't have to mute you, but if you are going to be here with me live and let me know whether or not you hear it too loud, I'd be grateful to know. And nope, this is not a video for kids because this particular one, painting is kind of really no big deal. Some kids probably shouldn't be unsupervised while doing it. Other reasons, because it's a little hard to explain painty papers to kids, maybe, or maybe it is harder to explain it to adults. Paper, just paint upon paint upon paint, and then what are you going to do with this big piece of painted paper? So there's a craft community, a huge one that I'm a part of, that knows exactly what painty papers are. And just for a quick explanation as to what they are, is making something like this ahead of time with different colors, maybe different patterns, all that kind of thing. Many techniques. But you have these painty papers that you will then be able to use in future projects. So some people would rip this in half and just have, maybe half and half, rip it in fourths, rip it into tiny pieces to use, all manner of ways to tear painting papers apart. And actually, I can show you really quick. These were large pieces of white craft paper. And as you can see, they're very colorful. There's, spray paints, not spray paints, but like spray acrylic on there, regular spray paints. I don't know if you can see on this one anywhere where I made circle marks. Oh, this one does. Circle marks. The things like, something as simple as a paper roll. That kind of thing. So I've ripped this apart. It was probably maybe 3 feet long. And I ripped it into smaller pieces and larger pieces and medium-sized pieces because you never know what you're going to really end up doing with it. Yeah, you can see the sheen there. This has got silver and gold on it. So, to some of you new to seeing this kind of thing would wonder what in the world would that be good for? And it's good for a lot of things, especially when you make other crafts and like me, make journal pages, things called ATCs, artist trading cards, where this could be the base with some, cardstock or whatnot behind it. And then you could put a focal image on it, a sentiment on it, whatever. Yeah, just good for a lot of things, but we can get to that when I start to use some of them, perhaps, or I'm sure there's plenty of you wonderful guys in my community that already know and have videos showing, what to do with your painty papers and how you store them even, and what you use them for. Yeah. I am by no means the only painty paper maker. All right, here comes the blow dryer. And I'm going to try to put it on low. Let me see here. I thought there was a mute. Yeah. Is it better now? I muted on purpose when I was using the dryer for the paint, but tell me if I'm muted now. You can hear me? Perfect. I'm just learning about this microphone too. Kind of big, pink, and fuzzy, and as far as I'm concerned, just a little too close to me for comfort with all these kind of paints and things. But nothing is perfect. So I'm going to grab some Delusions. What color do they call this one? Vibrant turquoise. And I have not used these in ages. So there's some more, as we call them, paint boogers. Paint that gets dry around the edge of the cap. But if you look in the cap, there's always a lot to use from there. So I think I'm going to take this brush and see what we can swipe off of here. Use it so it's not so built up there. Yep. Paint booger. Such a nasty word for it, eh? Now it seems like everything, out in the sky is in the universe. When we take a look at those telescope images, or if we have a telescope ourselves, which we do, we actually inherited it from my one of my husband's grandmothers, but we have never set it up to use, which maybe this summer we will actually do, because I very much like to particularly look at the moon. And I know I missed the lunar eclipse this last Sunday, Monday, but there's going to be a solar eclipse on April 8th. And I remember those just being such a big deal at school. They had black construction paper over our windows with a teeny tiny hole, and we had to wear that we could look through, and we had to wear special glasses, which I did see as a news article. I actually read online that there, are certain schools in my state and the state to the east of me, because part of that state to the east of me, I guess, is going to have some real direct views. And so the school closings that they listed, that they didn't think that it posed an actual imminent danger for a lot of schools in my state, until you got to the southern part of it. And then, of course, into the state, like I said, to the east of me, they have more of a direct line. And so they, it can hurt your eyes to look at it directly. And what they were doing was, having it be a stay-at-home day, but school work. Like they would have schoolwork regarding solar eclipses, and it would come with, they'd send home the worksheets for the kids to do, and then also the glasses for them to wear. So it wasn't on the, the parents' responsibility to get the glasses. But I imagine some parents are going to have to take the day off just because their kids are home. Kind of like what happened in the recent past for other health reasons. So, and that was quite a learning experience, I think, for a lot of people about home education. not so much us. We were already doing home education. Um, and for health reasons that exist well before what was going on those couple of years, but that was definitely a dangerous um, thing that could happen to my son. Look at me. I'm already covered in. Oh, it's going to obscure it, Chris, up to 86%. Ugh, that's no fun. But lately I've been in places where we don't really ever get a really good view of what's going on. But I think they said it won't be till 2044. Is that what they said? 2044 that there'll be another one. So there's all these people that are like taking time off and going and driving down to these small towns and that are in the path of being able to see the solar eclipse. And these little towns are just being inundated. They don't have the police force for that. They don't have, public accommodations, hotels, things like enough for all the people that that they're concerned about coming in. Places down in Texas, I think, and along that southern area, working its way up on a northeastern trajectory. So, yeah. And then there's the times when it's really, really cloudy and it practically covers it no matter if you are in the path. I mean, you may see some sort of, level of a shadow of light through. But when it gets when it gets real cloudy, we can't even see the regular moon. I'm too close to a really big city, and therefore my city is, or my village is a pretty densely populated area, and so that kind of light things. No, oh, none for you. Oh, you're over, Chris. You're in Mexico, yes? Yeah, no, universities, yeah, not quite the same as grade school and high school, right? The elementary age when they get all concerned about snow days and taking days off for all kinds of reasons. I'm gonna open up the paper towel I have underneath of this. Even though I have plastic, I'm gonna open this paper towel too, just for a little bit more corner to corner coverage there. And I sure don't want to get it on my keyboard, boys and girls. And ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, do you teach English at the university, Chris? And if you teach English, is it really more American English or proper British English, or is there? I know there's a difference, but do they make a difference, a delineation between the two? Because I know here when we learn Spanish, they call it Spanish, but they don't say that it's really more the dialect of Spanish that you would use in Mexico, or possibly even some other Central American, Latin American countries. But I found out my freshman year of high school when I had we had a transfer student, international transfer student. She came over from Spain, and she's like, "No, this is not Spanish." And I said, "Well, And so then she realized, she's like, "Okay, no, this is Mexican Spanish, or whatever, but this is not the Spanish we use in Spain." I mean, it was similar enough, but enough for her to say it was definitely not the same. Central Mexico, same to saying, "Oh my God." Oh, Okay, English as a foreign language at the university. You mix both American and British spelling and pronunciation. What about definition of the words? Because there are words that both the British and us Americans use, but they do not mean the same thing to us here in America as they do in Britain and vice versa. And that was an interesting thing when I started to learn some of those words. I know there are words that are not polite words that are used much more freely over there to just be a general insult, and it's not a bad thing to use those words, but here they're extremely inappropriate and offensive words to use. And I don't mean, your free speech, you can say whatever you want, whatever. These are pretty nasty vulgar cuss words and whatnot. I'm going to try to spray some. Oh, what's happening with my. I know my next door neighbor, she actually helps out in the ESL, English as a second language here, and she's from Colombia, so she's able to speak Spanish to the children and help them, get their both definitions if it's possible. It's good for the students. They learn that there are differences in case they go to work. Oh yeah, I get to work with Americans or Europeans. True, very true. Yeah, or for travel and visiting either place. Yeah, I know we Americans pretty much have, I don't want to say a sloppy English, but we definitely don't have as much of a proper good English. Aloha. Hello, Tammy. So it's still a good afternoon, I think, for you, Chris, right? You're on Central Time. And if you, Miss Tammy, if you're saying aloha to me, are you still over in Hawaii? So that would be a good 6. Are you a good 6 hours or so? Yeah, good. Are you a good 6 hours behind? It's 12:45 right now for me here in Central Midwest America. So you're up pretty early. Oh, 7:45 a.m. Okay. Oh, and you're in Mountain Time now that we switched times here. Does Hawaii switch time? Also, does Mexico switch time? Oh, you're working. Okay. Tutu. Everybody calls you Tutu. That's cute. Oh, and this one wants to give me grief too. All right. Well, we're just going to have to do this a different way. No time change for Hawaii. Okay, yeah. And you don't switch time anymore either. Oh, it was canceled since last year. When they were going to do that, Tutu is grandma in Hawaiian. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I love it. Yeah, there was talk in the United States, with doing that too, not changing the time anymore. I didn't know that about Hawaii. I knew Arizona never switched their time. And so now Mexico either, huh? Okay. Well, I know a lot of people are, aggravated by it. Especially when they have young kids. It seems to affect them, or even just school kids when they're trying to get up for school and all of a sudden, the late Saturday or night, which is really over into Sunday morning, they change it. So they barely get to have that first day. And then bam, they're back to school Monday. After that changes, and it kind of messes with people. Some people are real sensitive to the time changes and sleep patterns and things like that. So this is one way of making some dots if you can't get your sprayer cleaned while you're using it, to try and get it to spray for you. You can always take it out like that, but still shake it up really good. Proven that it didn't save electricity at all. Oh, so that was the idea of it in Mexico, was to save electricity? As you don't live so up north, our dawn is at 6 a.m., which is nice. Oh, that is nice. And dusk and sunset is about 7:30. That's nice. Yeah, we get into the summer and we're already past 6 o'clock actually for dawn, and dusk and sunset in the summer will go on to practically almost 9 o'clock at night. They did it here, at least as a parent. And when I was a child, the understanding was about children in not having to try and go to school, walk to school, or go to their school bus stop and whatever in the dark. And then also having the, what happens is the elementary school, younger kids go to school a lot of the time first. Their school starts first, and then the middle school will start, and then the later start will be for maybe I have that backwards. So that the idea is that the older kids were there for the younger kids when they came home from school, assuming that, I guess, parents, if they work, might not be there at 2:30, 3:30, when school's over, but that the older kids were there in the morning and the parents would still be there in the morning getting ready for work. So even if it was, a little dark in the morning, not actually dark in the morning, but, not so bright, but the parents were around to help make sure the kids got ready and got on the bus, right? But then after school, they have the older kids coming home first, so they are there for their younger siblings, and that's the story, and that's all I know. I'm sticking to it. I'm sure it has something else to do. I mean, there are got to be other reasons, maybe even agricultural. I don't really know, but it seems like that could be the case. Now, I don't want any more mixing. I have the gold and the silver that's still kind of wet together, so I am going to go ahead and turn on. Hello, Miss Chicken Pot Pie. Welcome, welcome. I'm just about to turn on my blow dryer to dry the silver and gold specks that I've made. I don't have my heat gun down here. It is upstairs in another room with other craft things. Let me know though if it's too loud, and I will use the mute button on my camera here. I'm going to use low heat though. Try to get right on top of these spots. Since I'm using low heat, it's not really got a lot of push with the air coming out either, so they're not going to make the drips out of these spots. Is it good? Or is it noise pollution? Okay. Mute time. Muting. Okay, can you hear me now? Did I mute it? And y'all were saved? Your ears were saved? Wonderful. I was able to turn it on high since you guys didn't have to hear it. Got to try it a little bit faster. Now, let's see if this green one will be polite to me. I don't know what that is. How that got up in there. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, let's wipe that. Ooh. We're getting nasty. I have to get myself another bit to have on hand here. And I think I'm going to wipe out this cap too while I'm at it. So what is everybody else doing today? I know Chris said you were working. What are you doing, Miss Tutu? And Barbara? I know what Chris does for a living. I do not know what you do, Miss Barbara. Or if you work at all, if you're retired. You don't mind my asking? And you too, Miss Tutu? Mrs. Tutu? You had this week off due to Easter. Oh, yes, and you go back on Tuesday. Yeah, I noticed a lot of schools having the Monday off, which when my kids were, my older kids were in school, that was not the case. But I know it's technically called Easter Monday. So I think where there's a lot of more of a Catholic religious population, that might be something that they do. Is have the Monday off as well. You toil in the salt mines. What? Barbara, you just trying to blow smoke up my butt. Why are all of these just all of a sudden not cooperating? Boys and girls, this is making me furious. I know I've just used. You saw I had to wipe stuff off of there. Oh, there are no salt mines for you to toil in. I mean, there might be salt caves to go and. Ooh, here, this one's spraying for you to go and sit in for healing and all, whatever they claim. I'm not quite sure. Like Himalayan salt caves and whatnot. Success with the purple. And let's see if we can have a little bit of success with some blue. Obviously, since I'm on right now, no, I'm not on vacation from anything. I had a couple jobs as a teenager. Got married at 19. Worked a little bit until right up to having my first child. And then that was my job after that. Had 3 kids, and there were 3 and under. So that was quite the job, keeping me busy on my toes. And, ooh, this one comes out strong. And then I was getting a divorce. And so then I did have to go and get a job. The kids and I were together, and they were in school all day. And then they had an after-school program that they could stay for. And I worked as an administrative assistant at a church where I really just kind of made church bulletins and so on and so forth. Monday off, university has 60% of the students coming from all over Mexico. Okay, so Sunday gets really busy for traveling. So they kind of give them more time to return. That's nice. That's very nice. That's very nice. I think around Thanksgiving here, they do that kind of thing, as far as they've made that week a whole week off of school so that parents and families can do that traveling. But they've also made that week parent teacher conferences. And they encourage the teachers to do them even in the evening after the parents are home. And once the teacher has all of her parent teacher conferences done, she's actually done working too, and she has the rest of that time off. So yeah, so there's a lot of hustling and people trying to scramble for the good time slots that they need for getting that parent teacher conference done so they can go and do whatever traveling they might be doing for Thanksgiving. And yeah, today is Good Friday, which has been changed to just as far as they call it, it's a non-school, non-attendance day. Yeah, because we can't say Good Easter anymore, apparently. All right, I'm gonna have to turn on mute again so I can dry some more. Okay. I was thinking to myself that the way that this is looking, at least for me, well, I guess in the camera there you can see more purple in that light than I can see myself just looking at it. Yeah. I wish I could do a little bit with this. Oh, you know what? I have lime green. Nope, that would not be it. I have lime green, and see if this is just too flippin' old and dry. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. But I do see the delusions. Don't drop all over me here, guys. Scoot over. No, delusions. Oh, never even opened it yet. I didn't even open it. Delusions. Fresh lime. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you that there was a time, years, where the only colors I would wear were versions of tans and creams and ivories and khaki kind of color and white, black, but not all black, just little bits of black. But the only real splash of color was a lime green like this. And no patterns, absolutely no patterns. Everything was a solid. I'm not quite sure what got me down that road, but I was on that road for quite a while. And I liked it. It made things easy to pick out. It was actually also partly during the time, like I said, of when I had that church job. Maybe it also just kind of helped me pick out what would go together easily. in my wardrobe. I'm kind of just dry brushing this green, this lime green, because I don't want it to be overpowering, but there is definitely a green. Oops. There's definitely a green bit to the looking up at the universe, boys and girls. And I know, formerly known as the Rebookery, now Stellar, let's see, Stellar Journals or Stellar Creations. I can't remember. Gina. She goes by Gina. Starting a whole new chapter in her life, retiring at the end of this school year, and is going to be doing full-time YouTube and Etsy selling, YouTube videos and Etsy selling, exploring her drawing abilities, getting comfortable in front of the camera, those kinds of things. And I'm one person, I'm telling you right now, I cannot wait. I have missed her so much, had no idea where she had gone. I knew that she was always less present, obviously, during the school year, being very busy as a school teacher before, during, and after school, and then exhausted, I'm sure. So, yeah, I caught up with a couple of her, a couple of her newest videos and the explanation of what is going on and what we can expect. And the reason I thought of her is because this being something about the sky and the universe and whatever, I know she's a science teacher. I forget which grade she teaches. But I know she loves everything science and the sky and the moon. I wonder if she's in the path. I think she's in the Kansas City area. I wonder if she's anywhere in the path for that solar moon or solar eclipse in April. Oh, you guys are talking about origami? Yeah, no, I have never attempted it because it just seems somewhat maddening to me. I mean, I like the end results, but all those teeny tiny little perfectly fold, you do it this way, then fold it that way, and then, whatever, around and around. That is not something I'm right now going to tell you, not something I'm good at. Now, my mom was excellent with origami. Loved different origami papers. That she would get excited about origami paper like we got excited about new Tim Holtz or, other kinds of paper pads coming out. Trying to knock back that green that I went too wild with. But she was awesome at it. My mom was real good. Yeah, it is fun to watch. I agree, Chris. Even if you're not good at it, there's lots of things we might watch that we aren't any good at it, but we enjoy watching them. Like me, for sports, for example. I know how the games are played. In my mind, I can play them. I know all the rules and what you're supposed to do. It's just that I don't have physical sports skills. But I make a really great spectator because I know how the game is supposed to be being played. So it's a matter of which sports I actually care to watch. Mostly football, baseball. My husband is a car racing fan. my dad, growing up with my dad, I learned to be a baseball fan. However, the team that he was a fan of is because of where he grew up when he was younger, and the team that my mother and us kids, were a fan of. Was a product of where we lived as a family. We live outside Chicago, so in Chicago there's two teams to pick from, and no, you cannot be a fan of both. You there's a real there's a real thing in the community that you have to pick. You're a fan of one or the other. You're either a North Side Cub fan or you're a South Side of Chicago Sox fan. And I think once a year they have, I forget what they call it, but they basically play each other, which doesn't count towards anything, in the statistics of the season, but just to bring together more Chicagoans, I guess, into the arenas, the baseball fields. By no means are they not full. They're always a full stadium. Yeah, but my dad grew up as a St. Louis Cardinals fan. And so I remember several times him watching, the St. Louis Cardinals playing the Chicago Cubs. And I'd sit down on the couch. And of course, when something good happened for the Cubs, I was excited. And he sat there. And I think, once I was excited too many times, he decided I needed to leave the house. Get outside, go, go, go. Go find something else to do, go ride your bike, whatever. Because he was not going to he was not going to tolerate me rooting against him, basically. And then one year, a few years back for my birthday, they were actually, the Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals were actually playing each other to see who was going to be in the playoffs. And it was a 3-game series, and he flew out here, bought the tickets for both of us. We Ubered down there and Ubered home because his ability to walk, even, getting on a train or anything like that, getting into a cab, in and out of a cab, all that was just too much. So we made it simple. We got it into an Uber and went all that way, and 3 days in a row. And the Cubs proceeded to win all 3 games. And he tolerated my cheering. He didn't jump up. He sat down. He was sitting down next to me. And I was jumping up for the Cubs, and so was everybody else. And he realized he was in Wrigley Field, right in the middle of Cub territory. And I would look over at him, and as an adult, I could be like, yes, and I could do all those things in his face, and he would just, grin and smile. I think he was happy to see me happy too. But yeah, still pretty sad that his team did not go on that year to the playoffs. So again, I'm going to shut this. Hi, Stitch It Pam. How's it going? I got some wet paint going on here, so I'm going to turn on my blow dryer. So I'm going to mute this because they said it's a little too loud. So you guys can talk amongst each other for a minute, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Can you hear me again? I think I got it right. Yep, looks like it. All right, so looks like I'm losing a lot of my, gold and silver speckles. But I wanted to also do remember the white? Um, hmm. Since this is probably way too much white. I'm going to try to make some white specks here before we worry about the gold and the silver. Because there probably should really be more of the white. And not just the specks. I think around the edges, there should be some like swishing, The universe is in a Milky Way is in a circle. Are any of you guys big science buffs? Universe, the moon and stars, anything like that? And if not, what is your favorite thing to paint if you do paint? You just paint abstracts? You like doing painted papers, kind of like this? Now, I am going to admit that a lot of people do their painting papers with a jelly plate. Do I have a jelly plate? Yes, I do. How long have I had that jelly plate? Years. How many times have I used that jelly plate? Never. Oops, dog alert. My husband bought it for me, and it is still in the package upstairs in that craft room I mentioned earlier. And like I've admitted in the past, I don't know. I think I'm just really intimidated by it and the messy factor. But then look at this. I mean, this is messy. I don't know why this doesn't seem to concern me. Oh, my son and my husband are home from their little car ride. Welcome home. Hello. We got more swishy going on over here than over here. And like I said at the beginning, I had made this crease, folded it in half so that if I had to, I think different things appeared better on one side versus the other, I would automatically, rip it in half. But for storing purposes, it would also be easier, not being this big. Making sure I'm not spraying myself, boys and girls. Let's see if this kind of helps a little bit. Sprayed the acrylic blue paint, not so much on this side because this one's not so heavy on the white that I did over here. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, we have 3 little yappy dogs. One mine, one my husband's, and one that we'll have to both say that we share. Oh, you're trying to get out, sweetie? I'm sorry. Daddy will help you. And when I say we have to share, it's because we inherited him. We're given him, I shouldn't say, because my dad has not passed away. So it's not really an inherited dog. But that's where Hank comes from. He comes from my dad. And he's still kind of, about 5 years younger than any of the rest of our dogs. And he's an interesting character. Yes, he is. We have some strange times with that dog. He acts like he doesn't know how to jump up on the couch. He makes several attempts and then just flops back down. He's part miniature Doberman Pinscher, and so they did his DNA. So he's 50% miniature Doberman Pinscher and 50% Chihuahua. And literally, his front half is what looks mini Doberman Pinscher, and then of course longer legs. But the back half of him is that white with brown speckles, like a Chihuahua. And he's this gorgeous shade of kind of light cocoa, like a light chocolate brown, real, So he's beautiful. He just acts so not smart. I don't want to be mean and say he's dumb, although I do sometimes. I'll admit it. Because he acts that way. Acts like he doesn't know how to get up on the couch. Acts like he doesn't know how to do this and that, and wants you to take the blanket and cover him up. When, at night when he wants to go to bed, all he does is shove himself tunnels underneath everybody's blankets and gets himself together. He's I know how, but I want the attention. Yeah. And so my doggy's 9. My husband's Chihuahua girl is 8. And Hank, the shared dog I just spoke of, is like going on 4 or 4 going on 5. I have to check. But yeah, so we realized we were going to have him for probably have him longer than we will now the other dogs. The other dogs might just go before him, and yeah. And the dog we will have left is this goofy one. So we've got to figure we better, try to train him a little bit. Make sure he becomes a good only dog. Some people can, when their furry pets pass away, it takes them a long time to buy another, or buy, I shouldn't say buy, but maybe buy, but in our case, rescue, adopt another dog. But I don't know. My dog is my service animal, and my dog is attached to me everywhere I go and sits with me, right next to me. I can't leave a room without him following right behind me. So, yeah, this girl's going to cry her eyes out when that boy goes. My husband suggested perhaps we get a 2.0 before my little Stanley passes away. So maybe the other dog can learn from my Stanley. But Stanley's also a jealous dog. He doesn't want other dogs to be important to me, you know, or me spending time with other dogs. Which I find funny. Oh, I thought yeah, now there's a lot of black on this, but maybe that might not be such a bad idea. But I don't know if getting a 2.0 is, I just don't think that's the wisest route. I'm just going to have to grieve for however long it is and however long it takes to get myself comfortable to getting a new puppy. Yeah, I've had him since he was 4 months old. We rescued him 2 weeks before I had a scheduled trip out to see my dad. And when that woman from the adoption agency heard that, she just got this really serious face, and she's like, "Oh, these breeds, these kind of dogs, they need to know who their person is." And so I said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll take him with me," and I did. And I've been very much a denim coveralls wear, and so literally I could carry him in here, and he grew up inside the pouch of my my bib overalls until he was big enough. He can still kind of goes this way. He goes through the side and hangs out there with his butt on one end and his head on the other end. He doesn't really sit, facing up. But yeah, he's been my sidekick, my everything since he was 4 months old. And in June, he'll be 10. And I believe it's May. Or is it September? September. That my husband's dog, Paisley, the Chihuahua Jack Russell Terrier, much more like a Chihuahua, but jumps like a Jack Russell Terrier. She has a birthday September, and then that's when she'll turn 9. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that many years have gone by. Let's see what this looks like. Maybe I should change my light setting because I kind of have it on that yellowish. Let's see if we can't turn that up. Ooh, whoa. Okay. I don't know. Is that too bluish of a light that's casting on there? Let's try something else. Okay, there. Yeah. So we can see all those colors. We just can't see the shininess anymore from the gold and the silver. So I'm going to have to get that back in. And then I think we will call it a day. Oh, you love the colors? Me too. Hello, Cindy. How are you today? Wasn't it one of these, the silver or one of these two, I thought I actually did spray, but I don't know. Maybe not. No. All right, so back to that trick we did before. Good. I'm glad you're doing good today. What you up to? Making some jewelry, paper craft. I see that's in your name. So those are your loves, your specialties? Do you do those things professionally? Sell them? Inquiring minds want to know. Don't try not to be intimidated or anything. I ask a lot of questions. I like to get to know people. But I also am aware that these are, videos that go out into the interwebs across the world. And there's never anything that was on the internet that isn't on the internet anymore, no matter how much people try to say, oh, delete, encrypt, whatever. There's always a way around something. You're making a journal, just finished up doing a live yourself. Oh, but you still have a few things to do. Well, when I get done, I'll have to go over there. Guys, we'll have to go over and see what journal she made since we were here. We missed your live, Cindy, but I'm definitely interested. I love making journals as well. What kind of journals do you make? Do you have a specific kind, or do you make all kinds? Another one that's definitely going to just have to be soaked up. Try to clean that one out. You do live tube auctions every week. On Monday nights, you sell your jewelry. On the last week of the month, you sell your jewelry. On Monday nights, you sell jewelry. And on the last week of the month, you have a craft sale. Wow. You are a busy lady. Is that something that you're able to do then basically work, from home and do? So many people started working from home and then just found ways to keep on working from home. Because of our son's medical issues and not having a nurse that he currently, needs to have. My husband has stayed home ever since the stay-home orders came out, and he has never gone back. He's gone in once or twice, but not to spend the day. And he's at home doing his job. Fabric journals, you call them life journals because they ain't junk. And I've been doing auctions on YouTube for 6 years. Oh, so you're seasoned at this. Fabric journals. And you call them life journals. I realize, so that they're not junk, but what makes them a life journal? Do you have a specific way you set them up? Specific kind of papers you used for documentation of life events? Or do you do custom work as also? And anybody else, go ahead, everybody else. Pam, tell us what you do, and if you do it for recreation, do you do it for making any kind of money? Do you sell on YouTube? Whatever anybody does, including you, Chris, and Barbara. I know, Chris, and Barbara, you guys have full-time jobs. But I always like to know what everybody's up to. What they're into lately, what they do all the time. You give them as gifts for events. Oh, that's wonderful. You do prayer journal, wedding journal. This one is for a young lady getting married in May. Oh, so yeah, you do custom work. So yeah, life journals, things that happen, events and things that happen in life. So they're themed that way. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys know, I think is it Crafting with Jen Wren? She, I had her make, and it was the most beautiful, elegant baby book I've ever seen. Ooh, a little bit of water on there. Don't want that. And we wanted a deep red and like a forest green and like white and ivory and a little bit of cream, those kind of colors, and lots of floral, um, floral imagery. I sent her a picture of the baby shower invite. So she kind of got this color scheme. And she made a really wonderful journal. She is also getting things together and working slowly, and because it's probably harder to get things together for a real theme like Frog and Toad. Nothing specifically Frog and Toad, I don't think, so that we don't have copyright issues. But maybe just a cutout here or there of them, but frogs and nature and ponds and bogs and forestry and all that kind of thing. For my son Oliver, who never got to have a baby book because his whole life has been a medical journey, and there was no time for a traditional baby book at the time. And now that he is going on 20, I can go back and write down the typical things that happen in the past and are currently happening. Let's see. You make Stitch It Pam. You have been selling online since 87. Started exploring different crafts and arts about a year and a half ago, having fun learning new things. Oh, yes. And it's very therapeutic. I agree. Where do you sell online, Pam? And same for you, Cindy. Do you guys have a shop online, or do you just find clients, end up with clients and then just work with them directly? Chris, full-time teacher at the university, but you're planning to offer pet portrait commissions. You're practicing. Oh, Chris Clue, are you aware of, darling, what is her name, that you had her do the portrait of Stanley for me?
It is Animated Girl is her.
Animated Woman?
Animated Woman, but her name is...
Yeah, I know at least on Instagram she's Animated Woman.
I'll find it.
So I don't know if she's on YouTube or not, but she is definitely on Instagram as Animated Woman, and she does all kinds of painting, but she does do a lot of people's pet portraits. And so I don't remember.
Little.
Pardon me?
J.C. Little.
Yeah. J, the letter J, the letter C as in cat, and her last name is Little.
The Animated Woman is one word on Instagram.
Yeah, and then Animated Woman is one word on Instagram. So I know she does all kinds of portrait stuff, but one for a specific holiday, I don't recall when, but my husband did secretly behind my back send her a really good picture of my puppy doggy, and she did a unique painting. You've been on eBay, Cindy, for 20 years, but never seriously. I have an eBay store and a Poshmark store. As far as YouTube sales, I have built up a following and have lots of repeats. Wow, that's awesome. Well, and with you calling them life journals, hey, life goes on, right? Life moves on, and there's always different events and reasons for people to need or to want to celebrate with a journal to document things in their lives. Hi, Sharon. Hi, it's nice to see you. Thank you for subscribing. It's nice to see you. I know we've seen each other in other live stream chats in the past. I've just been sitting here trying to make something a little universe outside, dark in the sky kind of thing. And I had folded the paper in half first before we got started, even online, just in case one side really kind of looked significantly, different than the other side. And I could automatically then, when it's dry, rip it in half. Um, and or if not, just fold it in half to maybe store it easier, or just rip it in half to store it easier. And then, of course, these white edges can be trimmed off. Oh, thank you. I don't have a big supply like I used to of all kinds of painty papers. So I'm having to try when I can to build up my supply again. Cindy, customers, I just started calling them life journals because you realize they were really about life. Isn't that the truth? Every kind of journal is just about life. Like I made a video earlier when I thought I was trying to make a short, okay? I did not know shorts were literally 60 seconds short. So I ended up with this 7-minute and 48-second video. And so then it goes into this, part where I need to edit, and then it's like, it only lets me have 60 seconds. I'm like, what? So I called out to my husband. I'm like, those shorts have always been just 60 seconds long. He's like, yeah, shorts are short. Because that's why I told you, just, say a few things, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I did this 7-minute and 48-second video. So I published it as a regular video. And the reason I bring this up also is not because of my little foolish mistake, and I have learned from it. I also, what I'm showing in there is is probably I've never even thought of having a journal like it before. It just started to organically happen. And it's a little cuckoo, but I have fun with it. So go check that video out where, I think it's titled something I thought I was making a short, something like that. Yeah, but it wasn't. It's 7 minutes and 48 seconds long, which is not a long video either. But it's definitely not a 60-second short. I don't even know how long reels are for Instagram. I really need to do some research, figure some stuff out. Okay, you go ahead, Chris. Yes, it's always so good to see someone taking care of their elderly parents. Bye. See you around, I'm sure. Aw, thank you, Sharon, for complimenting her too. It's so hard these days, the sandwich generation that they call us, where some of us are still taking care of our own kids, then also needing to take care of our parents. Thus the being sandwiched in between. All right. Well, I think I will clean up off camera, and this will dry, and I will decide how to store it with some of the other painty papers I've got, and we will call it a day. But I'm sure I will see some of you in other live streams and other chats. It looks like the ocean depth. Ooh, yeah. Mermaid. A mermaid on this piece. That's very true. Thank you, Sharon. And yes, you have a great weekend too, everyone. Pam, you too. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. And for anyone who watched on the replay, I'm grateful for you stopping by and watching our content. If everyone can click like, that's great. And if you like what you've seen, or my personality or whatever, go ahead and click that subscribe button too. for more content. Everyone, take care until our next video. Bye-bye.